We have another game one in the books. And I'm just going to say right now, Lafreniere, you can see some really interesting possibilities when it comes to him. I also want to say we can't overreact to just the game one, right? And there's definitely some of that going on, and it would be easy to overreact to this one. This game sort of reminds me of a series from 2 years ago between Vegas and the Winnipeg Jets, where the Jets win game one, but Vegas won the second and third period of that game. And I thought the momentum shift was important, and Winnipeg needed to figure out, how to stop Vegas because it felt like things were turning against them, though they won the game. And Jets fans said, "Hey, we won the game. Let us enjoy this, and we're gonna beat them." This game, Arizona emerges with the victory, but they better be careful because Nashville, once we get out of that first period, Nashville was the much better team. And so Arizona needs to be careful, or else we could see that same situation where this series completely turns and Nashville emerges as the victorious one at the end of a 5-game series. But the idea of Nashville drafting first overall and getting Lafreniere, it really doesn't matter who wins that, does it? It really, I mean, if we see all the underdogs knock out the favorites so that it's a pretty darn good team that gets Lafreniere, it really doesn't matter who gets them. There's going to be some upset people. And it is forefront in all of our minds because we are 8 days away from the draft lottery, from phase 2. Just 8 days, a week from tomorrow. So UC Saros was starting. It's his first career playoff start. Rene had made the previous 89 straight. I don't think that's going to change because during the game, the change wasn't made. So if Saros had been pulled out during this game, I think we'd be looking at perhaps Rene starting the next one. That didn't happen, so I'm going to say no. Rene is not going to start the next game. Fast physical start. Fisher then with a kneeing play causes the Predators to get a power play. And not suspension worthy, but throwing out a knee to start a game, that's an interesting way to start things. Turris was then on the power play after the knee. So the one thing you look at too with a kneeing situation is, does the player who was on the receiving end, does he leave the game? And the answer was no. Kyle Turris was okay. Kemper looked good. So did the Coyotes penalty kill early. And then the announcer says Arizona, not Arizona. And not Arizona's zone. What he meant was they're in the Arizona zone. And so you said the Arizona. So I thought that sounds great. I will just refer to it as the Arizona from now on when it's in their end. Predators weren't giving the Coyotes any room until they did. So early on, the Predators were playing their game. And then the Predators break through. It's Ekman Larson from Holland step on at 7:59. The goal was deflected off Turris and it went off Duchesne's shoulder. There is no way in Hades that Ekman Larson went, okay, guys, I'm going to deflect it off that guy, and then into the net. It's not pool, so no. Tenorti then takes a penalty right after. The Coyotes go to a power play. They don't score on that. However, Dvorak would get a goal from Kessel at 11:52 to make it 2-0. And it was more of the bounces at the Preds net. These are not pretty goals. These are not goals that you can necessarily pin on Saros. These aren't goals you can necessarily say, well, that was a planned play by the Arizona Coyotes. This was just throw everything at the net and scrambly play, and then it ends up in the Predators' net. Scrummy happens at about the 12-minute mark. The Coyotes were in control after what had been a slow start, and it felt like the Predators were trying to physically push back in this. Krause then threw a hit on Duchesne. Duchesne didn't like it. He gets up, and he takes a penalty in what he did in retaliation. So that leads to a power play goal for Clayton Keller. Dvorak with the assist on that at 15:42. So Dvorak with a goal and an assist in the first period. And at that point, the question mark I had was, it's 3-0, 15 minutes in. Can Dallas give them a phone call and say, so just unrelated note, what did you do? How did you get 3 behind Saros? Because we can't manage 1 over 2.5 games. So that was just a thought I had. With 1:37 left, there were matching calls making it a 4-on-4. Then with 39.6 seconds left, Phil Kessel takes a penalty, and it was a 4-on-3 for the Predators. And Kemper was doing his best to keep the Preds out until, with 2.8 seconds left, Forsberg gets a goal from Arvidsson and Yossi. That is a power play marker. And that one bounced in off Hjalmarsson. So that one went off Hjalmarsson skating into the net. So 4 goals, and only one of them went directly into the net. The other 3 bounced around, weird plays. Well, I guess the Dvorak one technically is directly into the net, but okay, so 2 out of 4 were direct shots, and 2 of them were bank shots that you might call, but I don't think anybody did. Second period, kind of a surprise that Saros was still in the game. And this is why I'm saying we won't see Rene in game 2. Saros is the guy, and Saros played pretty well. Because honestly, of the goals that were scored on him, I can't really fault him on any of the 3. So Kemper snagged a shot by Yannick Weber. It was a nice shot over the shoulder, and it was one of those ones where it would have gone right under the bar. If it had scored, we would have talked about a great goal it was. Kemper didn't stand a chance, but Kemper finds a way to snag it. Grimaldi then takes a penalty, puts the Coyotes on the power play. Fabro then takes a delay of game penalty, puts the Coyotes right back on the power play. So Nashville kind of having some issues here, but they started to get the flow of the game into their favor. Granlund takes a penalty for another Coyotes power play. It was their third of the period. They don't score on those. This is one of those, you've got them down 3-1. You have a chance to really put them down, really put your stamp on this game and say, nope, this is our turn. And the Coyotes didn't do that. They let the pressure off with the Predators. Solid penalty kill for the Predators, who needed goals. Chychrun then takes a penalty that gives the Predators a much-needed power play. And what happens? Michael Grabner is capable of absolutely fantastic plays. He is. And with Grabner, it's never been a matter of skill. Never the issue with Grabner. It's a matter of consistency. It's a matter of year over year over year being able to do it. And when you see that goal, and if you haven't seen the shorthanded goal he got on the breakaway, 16:25 of that second period, by all means, go look that up because it's absolutely beautiful. He roofs it. Saros didn't stand a chance. And it just shows you that Grabner has amazing hands at times. He only had the 8 goals this season, and I think it was 44 games that he played, 11 points overall. There's so much more there with Grabner. He could be a 25-30 goal scorer every year. It's the talent is there. And then during that same short-handed time, Richardson and Grabner then out of 2-on-1. And it looked like they might score. So this was 4-1 after 2, and you got the feeling like, all right, so even though Nashville did lead in shots through that period, which is remarkable since there were three power plays for Arizona. Nashville still barely, but they did lead in shots in that second period. It shows Nashville starting to turn the tide. Third period early. Ellis scores from Johansson and Yossi at 30 seconds. And that one was directed in off Oliver Ekman-Larsson's skate. So, yeah. Just keep bouncing it in off players, I guess. The Hjalmarsson one was in off the skate, right? I know they bounced it in. There's a lot of bouncing it in off players on the other team. Maybe they were calling it from the bench. Maybe they were yelling that back and forth. I'll get to what they were yelling at that point. Now, this is where I noticed, and they probably did it on the first goal, but it was at the end of the period, so I didn't hear it. But the "it's all your fault" chant got piped in, that you do at the opposing goaltender when he allows a goal. My God, that's weird. It's weird to have that piped in. That's really bizarre. I get it, but it sounded weird. It just did. It was odd. Predators were getting more shots and pressure. Kemper denied Johansson. Lots of really good chances for the Preds. Arizona's got to watch this. They have to get better at protecting leads. They made this way more interesting than they really should have. Coyotes got a too many men call. Predators go to the power play, and they score on it. And Forsberg, from there with that net that wide open, he's not going to miss. Pass from Yossi was fantastic. Yossi's pass was on point. Duchesne with the secondary assist at 8:56. And suddenly it's 4-3. And honestly, this game got way closer and way tighter than it probably should have. But Arizona definitely played back way too much. Coyotes take another penalty. Preds go back to the power play. With 5:58 left, the Coyotes get a power play. And Garland got a pretty good chance, which had Saros looking behind him. While he had the puck, he did look behind him. I love it when goalies do that because I'm like, he doesn't know where it is. Doesn't know where the puck is. He had it. So it was fine. They pulled the goalie with 1 minute and 40 seconds left. The Predators were in control. They got their share of chances, but Arizona does hold on. So the Coyotes get that first victory. And during this game, I had to put this on the board. I love the garble talk. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's this whole, we had the debate about, without fans in attendance, how are they going to hide all the swearing? They just digitally scramble what the players are saying. So it sounds like a combination of speak that you'd hear in a Sims video game and the backwards talking people in another dimension in Twin Peaks. That is exactly what it sounds like to me, and it's fantastic because at that point I just picture that they're just video game characters or that they're actually saying these garbled words. That they were actually told, listen, this is your language for the game. You need to learn these garbled words. There's the expletive that this garbled word means. You need to call them this. If you actually use the expletive, you're going to get suspended. So, in this game, the shots were 14-10 Arizona in the first period, 13-12 in favor of Nashville in the second. Again, that's remarkable since they killed 3 penalties in that period. And 20-11 in the third period. You got to nail it down a little bit tighter than that, Arizona, or Nashville next game, they'll win. Final shots 43-37 in favor of the Predators. The hits were 22-15 in favor of Arizona. Not a game with a ton of hitting. Power plays 1 for 6 for Arizona. They also got that shorthanded goal. And Nashville was 2 for 5. And again, love the garble talk. It's one of those things that you may not get with Sportsnet and ESPN and all this other reporting. You may not get them talking about the garbled up swearing, so you don't. And every now and then you'll hear one here and there. But in general, the garble talk does hide it. But it's hilarious. I find it funny. I don't know if other people don't like it. Let me know in the comment section below, as always, how you felt about the garble talk. And it was more clear to me in this game, I thought, than some of the others. But let me know your thoughts. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And hey, thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.